I am excited to share a story with you today. This is a story about intuition, our powerful guiding force that many of us, unfortunately, have stopped listening to, or more so, misunderstand how to listen to it. For anyone who knows me and has watched my journey in my life, I am very much guided by my intuition, and I am so thankful for it. For a very long time, I was constantly questioned about my choices because they just didn't make sense to other people. They seemed sporadic and sudden and unthoughtful. And from an outside perspective, that's true. But they were guided, all of them. And that's why I have story after story of amazing opportunities where I listened to my intuition and I was guided to an experience that was profound or life-changing or a big lesson. Regardless, they're always what I need. So I want to share a story right now with you about an experience that I had listening to my intuition. When I was living in Minnesota, this was in my early 20s, I was working at a school where I wasn't happy. I did not feel fulfilled in my work. I was in a relationship with an amazing being who was ultimately meant to be a best friend, not a boyfriend. And we had gotten to a point where we just were not serving each other anymore. We were constantly bickering and arguing and could not agree or get along, and it was just unhealthy. It was unhealthy. And I knew it. I knew I was in a relationship that was unhealthy, that wasn't serving me. I was in not necessarily a career because I love teaching, but I was at a job, at a position at a school where I wasn't happy, where I felt limited and stifled and that I couldn't grow or become more. And I was driving home from school one day because I didn't want to be at school anymore. And I also didn't want to go home. And I stopped at a stop sign. It was actually right outside of a Zen meditation center that I'd been practicing at for months, which I'm so grateful for because it helped me quiet my mind and tap in and listen. But I was sitting at this stop sign crying, which if you've been watching my videos, tears are a powerful mode of expression for me that I am so grateful for and not ashamed of in a single bit or way. I cry when I'm happy, I cry when I'm sad, I cry when I'm joyful, I cry when I'm mad, which sucks because I'll be like, I'm mad at you right now, I'm not sad, you didn't hurt my feelings, I'm upset. I'm a crier. But anyways, I was crying at a stop sign because I was not happy. I was not fulfilled, and I knew I wanted a different life, but I didn't know how to get it. And I just was feeling all of that. I was feeling it, and I was just questioning like how I had gotten myself there and how I created a life where I felt so stuck and so limited and unsuccessful, and I just felt defeated. And I remember asking the universe for a sign. What do I do? Where do I go from here? I don't know. I don't know the next move. Like, I love this person, but I'm not in love with this person. I love teaching, but I'm not in love with this school and being a teacher here. And I don't know. I don't know what to do. And I wasn't even listening to the music playing, but all of a sudden, there was one line that I heard. It was from a Michael Menard song, and it said, "Move to Colorado, leave it all behind." Move to Colorado and leave it all behind. For most people, if you would have heard that, you probably wouldn't have heard it. And if you did hear it, you wouldn't have actually listened to it. You wouldn't have realized it was a sign. But I knew it was, because it hit me in a way that said, this is a sign. This is an answer. And that's the thing about intuition. There's that moment within you where you know if it was meant for you. And the mind will come in and it'll tell you it doesn't make sense and not to listen and yada, yada, yada. But you know. You will know when your intuition serves you with a sign. And then it's up to you to listen and respond to that feeling, to that knowing, before the mind limits you, before the mind stops you, before you are convinced or convince yourself that it doesn't make sense, it's not what you need to do, you don't have the money, you don't have the time, you don't have the connections, whatever the limitation is, because it's all limitations. You are a creator being. You can do whatever the hell you want if you believe in yourself, which is its whole own thing. So there I was, crying in my car, and I hear this line on the radio, which I actually think was a CD: move to Colorado and leave it all behind. I went home that day and I told my boyfriend I was moving to Colorado. At the time, we had one connection in Colorado, and honestly, I didn't even know her that well. She is now like one of my absolute best friends, and that was its whole own thing to move to Colorado to be with her and connect with her, and I'm so grateful because she is just a gem in my life. But at the time, I didn't know her really. She was an ex or girlfriend, or maybe they were still dating, of a friend of mine, and I'd met her a few times, but she was a few years younger than me in college, and I was still kind of transitioning out of being a little lost and full of myself and just, the path of discovery. And I hadn't taken the time to actually get to know her or connect with her. And it's funny because when I talk to her now, she thought I was so cool, and I didn't even give her the time of day. But we met when we were supposed to, and so she's the one person I knew. And and she was actually placed in Colorado for a Teach for America position. And I had another friend who was like, I want to move to Colorado. And so she was like, I'm going. And she went with this other friend, and I was sitting at home, and I remember telling him that day, after hearing that sound, going home and being like, I'm going to move to Colorado. And we had just re-signed our lease for a year. I had just committed to staying at the school. I had just recommitted to all of these things in my life. And I remember him saying, like, we just signed this lease. And I said, I don't care. You have to figure it out, which was kind of shitty of me when I reflect on that aspect of it. But I knew I had to go, and I wasn't going to let a contract limit me. I wasn't going to let in a new agreement. And I don't mean to say to go back on your word by any means, but sometimes we agree to things without knowing if it's going to truly serve us. And you are number one. You are the most important person in your life. You are your happiness, because when you are happy, you get to be that in that experience. You get to be that individual and that person that brings that happiness and that joy to others. But if you are not happy, you are not helping anyone. So your happiness and your joy, it matters. It matters so much. So you have to listen to that intuition. You have to respond. You have to act. You have to be guided in your life. You don't have to do it alone. You never had to do it alone. You have been constantly given signs and opportunities to listen and move and follow your path. But you have to listen. And I did. I did. And so it took me, I think, about 2 weeks. And I remember contacting Jenny, the amazing Jenny, and asking her, like, can I just sleep on your couch? And my other friend Natalie had moved with her at that point, and I was like, guys, I'm gonna come sleep on your couch. And I'm so grateful for my other friend Priscilla, who was like, I want to come too. And so traveled across the country, moved to Colorado. 4 of us lived in this little 1-bedroom, maybe 2-bedroom apartment for like 2 months, sharing a bed and figuring it out. And I got to Colorado. I had obviously no job. I hadn't prepared. I didn't have all that much money, but luckily we were all sharing a small apartment. And I dove deep into me. I started learning the guitar and playing music and deeply practicing yoga, and found a studio I loved and a place to meditate. And I started to develop me, because I realized that I did not know who I was. And in order to actually create an impact and to actually make a difference in the world, I had to do it as authentic me. And I didn't know who authentic me was. So that's my story. And the ultimate message behind it is to listen. To listen when you are guided, and don't let the mind tell you it doesn't make sense, or it's not logical, or it's not feasible, or whatever the mind wants to say. Trust your intuition. You know. Listen, and follow your path, and develop yourself, and become authentic, so that the world gets to see you, and you get to make the impact that you are meant to make. You've got this. You have got this. I love you. Have an amazing day. I can't wait to share with you again soon. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and let's share together and create magic together and grow together and learn together and become epic beings like we're meant to be. I'll see you soon.